Very excited to be joined by a candidate who's running in Missouri, candidate for the US Senate, Spencer Toder. Welcome to the Damage Report.
Hey, thanks so much for having me. I appreciate it.
It's great to have you here and great to get a chance to learn about your candidacy. This is a race that has received a good amount of national focus, in no small part because on the Republican side, Eric Greitens has said some absolutely insane things. But let's talk about the Democratic side. So this is, I believe it's your first run for office, correct?
It is. My background is in business and innovation, starting small businesses in Missouri.
Okay, well, tell me a little bit about that. How do you transition from starting those businesses to thinking about running for Senate?
Sure. Well, the primary focus of my career has been in solving really hard problems. So I run a medical device company that has a device that fills a hole in an infant's heart. Actually, just last week, we signed a preclinical trial agreement with one of the leading heart hospitals in the world. I also have a home renovation business. And so we find the root cause of problems and we solve them. And we do that with people from all different backgrounds. So whether I'm working with doctors and scientists or tradespeople and union workers, we always work towards a common goal. And I think that's one of the things that uniquely separates me and differentiates me from some of the other people running for office.
Okay, and I believe on the Democratic side, it's 10 candidates or maybe 11 candidates total?
Yeah, I believe it's 11 now. But compared to 21 on the Republican side, so I think it's a little bit of a clown show at times here and there.
Yeah, well, you have this open seat, draws a lot of interest, obviously. So, tell me about this first race, transitioning from running businesses to the actual running. How has the process been? Has the Democratic Party been very involved in this race?
No. I think the long and short is Missouri has been looked at as flyover country for quite some time. And one of the reasons I'm running is because people here feel like their voices aren't being heard. We've been left behind. And one of the things that I would want to get across to your viewers is that we are not a ruby red state. We are a state of people who feels like the government has failed them. And when we don't get investment in the community, and when we don't get out to talk to people on both sides of the aisle, that perpetuates. And so we have a really unique opportunity this time around. You mentioned that there's an open seat, but on top of that, all of the Republicans are running as far right extremist Republicans. But we have an independent candidate as well, a guy named John Wood, and he's got $20 million backing him. And he says he's gonna caucus as a Republican. So he has the chance of taking all of the other votes, the protest votes, the true Republican votes of kind of the Reagan era Republicans, leaving an opportunity for the right Democrat to step up and actually win this race.
That's a good point and definitely worth focusing on. And this, I mean, that's a lot of money that can go pretty far. So tell me about that process of getting out there and talking to people who feel like they've been left behind by the government. What are some of the issues that you would be inclined to stress in these conversations? And what are some of the things that your potential constituents that you're talking to are bringing up as you talk with them?
Yeah, I appreciate it. So the biggest difference between my campaign and probably the campaigns of any campaign you've ever seen in the history of this country is we are solely focused on doing well by doing good. We are focused on making an improvement in the lives of Missourians every single day. And over the course of my campaign, we've now helped over 10,000 Missourians apply for Medicaid who didn't know they qualified. We've gotten over 600 Missourians the child tax credit who made under $12,000 a year and they didn't file taxes. So the government didn't even know to tell them that they could get $300 per month per child. We've helped 4,000 families get affordable internet, $30 off their monthly internet bill. And really the focus is by showing that when the government actually steps up or when people who want to be part of the government step up, we can build coalitions based on actual action that makes people's lives better instead of just political rhetoric and advertisements and clickbait tweets.
Okay, and so you were talking about the perception that the state is very red, and you're saying that that's not your interpretation. Trump won by double digits, but that's, there's certainly states that were more thoroughly Republican. And if what you're saying is true, that people feel like the Democrats haven't really been giving them the time of day, it certainly seems like something you could put in play. But that said, it has supported a Republican in the past couple presidential elections. Is that in any way shaping the way that you're campaigning or the issues you're choosing to focus on? Is that a consideration as you're going through this process?
Oh, absolutely. I think one of the things that is always on our mind is how do we appeal to a broader base, recognizing that what people are fighting against isn't so much one side or another. It's the division, it's the rhetoric, it's the language that we use and how we treat each other. And so when I meet with people, and I started running the general election 15 months ago when I started the primary, I've been running both at the same time because we only have 3 months in between the primary and the general here in Missouri. It doesn't make sense to try to convince enough people to run or to vote for you in 3 months to actually win. And so we focus on people who have been left behind. And in Missouri, that's so many people. And when you do that, and when you have a message of, we want you to be able to go to the bake sale or the lemonade stand and not worry about whose yard sign is in the front yard, it turns out you can bring a lot of people together, and that's a message that's resonating. It wasn't long ago that Jason Kander narrowly missed winning a Senate seat here, and Donald Trump isn't on the ballot this time around. So we have an incredible opportunity to motivate people who are ready for change.
Yeah, I just want to ask you one question about the context that this race is happening, and obviously, none of this is up to you or to me, unfortunately, but Joe Biden not super popular right now. His approval rating has been going down. The Democrats in general not super popular, and there's this interpretation that this midterm election will follow the historic pattern of not necessarily going well for the party that's in charge. So that's the context that you're running in. Do you find people bringing up Joe Biden or the Democrats? Is that influencing your race, or do you think that people are more focused on state level or local concerns?
So Missouri was the first state with a trigger on the abortion ban. We have no abortion access in our state. We have currently no gun laws in our state. They passed something called the Second Amendment Protection Act, which makes us a gun sanctuary state and fines our police officers $50,000 for the department for working with the ATF or DEA or interstate gun-related crimes. It's absolutely incredible how much we are suffering because of these things. In our state, 25% of the school districts go to school 4 days a week because our government has chosen to defund education. So these are the things that people in Missouri care about. These are the things we're talking about. And because we have a Republican supermajority that does not let us actually get our voices heard, this is why it has to be done at a federal level. We have to pass voting rights legislation. We have to abolish the filibuster. We have to expand the Supreme Court, or else states like mine are going to continue to be divested and people here are going to continue to be suppressed.
Jeez, wow, I didn't know about the 4 day a week thing. That's
they take Mondays off, which means that someone has to stay home with their kid on Monday. So imagine what that does to the workforce as well. I mean, it's absolutely terrifying what's happening here, and it's important for your viewers to know that all of the laws that you see around the country and in your states that are passed that are terrible start here. We're the petri dish, and they test it out here and then they move it out to other states. And so when you invest in Missouri, when you invest in candidates in Missouri, you're actually investing in your own communities as well. Because we saw what happened with Josh Hawley. I mean, he is the poster child for Missouri currently, but he represents none of us. He doesn't even live here. He lives in Virginia. I know like 3 people that I've ever met who have ever met Josh Hawley or care who he is in relation to our state. But we have the chance of actually giving you more people like Josh Hawley if you don't put your time and energy into our state, and we could really use it right now.
Yeah, and some of those Republicans on their side arguably crazier than Josh Hawley. So yeah, that's something to be avoided. For now though, the race continues. If people are watching this and they want to get involved in your race, how can they do that?
Yeah, absolutely. They can go to spencertoder.com. My last name is spelled Toder. We have so many ways to get involved. We do text banking on a daily basis. We have letter writing campaigns. We're really close to the primary, so we'll probably need some more support on that after the primary when we win there. But tell your friends, donate money. Go to Find My Act Blue. Go to my website and give a couple bucks if you can. If you can't, find another way to get involved. Everyone knows someone who knows someone in Missouri. Use social media, amplify our voices. At Spencer Toder on Twitter is where you'll most prominently find me, but I'm on TikTok, I'm on Instagram. And we have regular town halls that everyone is welcome to attend, because I plan to not only represent this state, but the entire United States.
Awesome. Spencer Toder, it's been a pleasure getting to know you, and good luck in your race.
Thank you, I appreciate you having me on.